So, guys, today I want us to start with some breaking news. President Ramaphosa has signed the Bela bill into a law, the Basic Education Law Amendment Bill. It has been signed into a law. We know that this is a very controversial bill because it has literally split the country in half. Some people are in favor of the Bela bill and some people are not in favor of the Bela bill. The same thing can be said about the politicians and the political parties. Some political parties are totally against the Bela bill and some political parties are in favor of the Bela bill. So I would actually advise you guys that if you are a parent, if you have children in school, it is very important for you to go online and read the bill by yourself. Do not rely on the media to explain to you what the bill means. Do not rely on the politicians or political parties to tell you what the bill means, because when it comes to such issues, people will always find a way to actually put things in a manner that is suitable for them to push their own narrative. So if you are a parent, it is very important that you make time to go online and read about the Bela bill so that you can reach a conclusion whether you are for the bill or you are against the bill. But I'm trying to get you to a point where you are not going to blame a politician or a media house for actually misleading you about something that has to do with the education of your children. So you can see over here that we are on the government website. Anyone can simply access this page. It is free of charge and you can read the bill by yourself. So it is very important, guys, that you make sure that you make time and read the bill by yourself. Do not rely on anyone when it has to do with the education of your child. So according to the government website, the Bela bill aims to amend the South African Schools Act of 1996 to insert and amend the certain definitions to provide that the attendance of grade R is compulsory, to amend the penalty provision in the case where the parent of a learner or any other person without just cause prevents a learner who is subject to a compulsory attendance from attending school, and to create an offense in respect of the interruption, disruption or hindrance of school activities. The Bela bill aims to enhance the authority of the head of the department in relation to the admission of a learner to a public school, after consulting with the governing body of the school, to provide that the governing body of a public school must submit the admission and language policies of the public school to the head of the department for approval. The Bela bill aims to provide that the South African Sign Language has the status of an official language for the purposes of a learning at a public school, and that the head of the department may direct a public school to adopt more than one language instruction where it is predictable to do so, and that if the head of the department issues such a directive, he or she must take all the necessary steps to ensure the public school receives the necessary resources to enable it to provide adequate tuition in additional language of instruction. The Bela bill aims to provide the minister with the authority to appoint a person, an organization or a group of persons to advise on curriculum and assessment related matters, to provide that the code of conduct of a public school must take into account the diverse beliefs, religious observances and medical circumstances of a learner that the school, and to provide for the inclusion of an exemption clause in the code of conduct and for the disciplinary proceedings to be dealt with in an age-appropriate manner and in the best interest of the learner. The Bela bill aims to refine the provisions relating to the possession of drugs on school premises or during activities, and to provide for the conditions which liquor may be possessed, sold or consumed on a school premises or during school activities. So I think this is one of those things that is going to be quite controversial, and people are going to have a lot to say, because it says that the Bela Bill aims to refine the provisions relating to the possession of drugs on school premises or during school activities, and to provide for conditions under which liquor may be possessed or sold or consumed on school premises or during school activities. Insane. The Bela Bill aims to refine the provisions relating to the suspension and expulsion from the public school by inserting a definition of serious misconduct, to provide for the prohibition of a corporal punishment at a school activities and at hostels accommodating learners of a school, to prohibit initiation practices during the school activities, to provide for the designation of a public school as a public with a specialized focus on talent. And this is a very important one. This is a very important one. We know that many students have actually lost their lives because of this. It says that the Bela Bill aims to prohibit initiation practices during school activities, to provide for the designation of a public school as a public school with a specialized focus talent, to further regulate the measure of a public school, to provide for the reasonable use of the facilities of a school for the education related activities without charging a fee or a tariff. The Bela Bill aims to provide for the centralized procurement of identified learning and teaching support material for the public schools. The Bela Bill aims to further regulate the withdrawal of the functions of the governing bodies. The Bela Bill aims to provide that is the minister and not the members of the Executive Council who must make certain determinations in regard to the composition needs. The Bela Bill aims to provide for the membership of a governing body of a public school that provides education with a specialized focus on talent, sports, and performing or creative arts. The Bela Bill aims to provide that the head of the department may, on reasonable grounds, dissolve a governing body that has ceased to perform its functions. The Bela Bill aims to provide that a member of a governing body must declare a direct or indirect personal interest that he or she or her family member may have in recruitment of employment of staff at a public school, or in procurement of goods and services for a public school, and that the members of the governing body must recuse themselves or herself from meetings of a governing body under such circumstances. The Bela Bill aims to provide further clarity regarding the prohibition of a remuneration of members of governing bodies. The Bela Bill aims to provide that is the minister and not the members of the Executive Council who must make certain determinations in regard to the election of a members of a governing body of public schools. The Bela Bill aims to provide that where reasonably predictable, only a parent member of a governing body who is not employed by the public school may serve as a chairperson of the finance committee. The Bela Bill aims to make a technical amendment in relating to the status of learners serving on governing bodies of public schools. The Bela Bill aims to extend and refine the provisions relating to the closure of public school. The Bela Bill aims to provide that lease agreements relating to the school's immovable property must be submitted to the members of the Executive Council for approval, and that in case of a lease for a period not exceeding 12 months, the approval of members of the Executive Council is not required. The Bela Bill aims to further regulate and refine matters relating to the budget of a public school. The Bela Bill aims to further regulate the circumstances under which a governing body may pay additional remuneration or give any other financial benefit or benefit in kind to a state employee. The Bela Bill aims to provide that where the parent of a learner applies for exemption from payment of school fees and information cannot be obtained from the other parent of learners, the parent may submit documentary evidence in the form of an affidavit or court order in relation to the other parent. The Bela Bill aims to provide for financial record keeping by the governing body of a public school for the drawing up of financial statements and for the representation of these to a general meetings of parents. The Bela Bill aims to extend the powers of the head of the department to conduct an investigation into the financial affairs of the public school and to provide that the governing body of a public school must submit quarterly reports on all income and expenditure to the head of the department. The Bela Bill aims to create the penalty provision in the case where a person establishes or maintains an independent school and fails to register it. The Bela Bill aims to empower the members of Executive Council to determine conditions where granting a subsidy to an independent school and to provide for financial reporting by such subsidized independent schools. The Bela Bill aims to further regulate home education, to create an offense where a parent supplies a public school with a false or misleading information or forged documents when applying for the admission of a learner or for exemption from payments of school fees. The Bela Bill aims to provide for a dispute resolution mechanisms in the event of the dispute between the head of the department or the members of the Executive Council and governing body. The Bela Bill aims to further regulate the liability of the state to the dialectual or contractual damages. The Bela Bill aims to extend the powers of the minister to make regulations and to provide for offences to create in regulations made by the minister. The Bela Bill aims to amend the preamble and to provide for the matters incident thereto and the Employment of Educators Act of 1996 so as to amend certain definitions. The Bela Bill aims to exclude further education and training centers, adult basic education centers and institutions from ambit of the Act to provide an educator from conducting business with the state and to create an offense in relation thereto, to extend the powers of the ministers to make regulations and to provide for the matters incidental thereto. So it is quite lengthy. It is quite lengthy. That's why I said it is very important for each parent to actually go online and make it a point that you read these things. Please make it a point that you read these things, because it's quite important. You listen to some of the amendments that they are trying to make. Some of them, they sound insane, but some of them, they actually make sense. So it's very important for people not to rely on the media or to rely on the politicians, especially when it comes to such important issues. So I believe that some of the amendments that are making people feel a bit of uncomfortable, it was a summary that was done by News 24, but I believe that it is quite fascinating how they put the summary. So some of the amendments that are making people feel a bit uncomfortable. You can see number one. Okay, let me do this. All right. Number one, making grade R the new compulsory school starting age. On Tuesday, the department said it needed 16 billion to implement the Bela Bill. According to the department, 12 billion would go to the infrastructure development and an estimated 4 billion to fund staffing requirements. The provision of grade R is currently not part of the compulsory basic education mandate and it is managed within the broader context of early childhood development ECD as regulated by the Education White Paper of 2021. Grade R would be expanded to 7,888 schools. Number 2, criminalizing parents who don't ensure that their children are in school. The bill addresses this by threatening parents with jail time. It says parents should take responsibility for the whereabouts of their children. The bill also adds that anyone who prevents or intentionally disturbs school activities is guilty of breaking the laws and may be sent to prison for a maximum of 12 months, 1 year. When it comes to the home education, the amendment provides that the head of the department may, when considering an application, require a delegated official to conduct a pre-registration site visit. It also provides that the Minister of Basic Education may institute a relating to the registration and administration of home education. The department said an amendment on homeschooling recognized that some parents did not feel comfortable sending their children to the public schools. When it comes to the language policy, this clause seeks to amend Section 6 of the SASA Act to provide for the governing body to submit the language policy of a public school and any amendment thereof to the head of the department for approval. The language policy must also take into consideration the language needs of a broader community. On a sale of alcohol on school premises, this clause provides for the possession, consumption, or sale of liquor during any private or religious functions held on school premises. I believe that do not sell alcohol at school. Do not sell alcohol at school. It doesn't matter if the schools actually allowed you to use their halls. But please, man, it is not a good look to actually have people drinking alcohol in their school premises. Please do not allow that to happen. When it comes to the religion, the bill proposes that a code of conduct developed by the school must be sensitive to the cultural beliefs and religious observances. The code of conduct must also contain a section which allows pupils to request an exemption from complying with a certain parts of the code of conduct. When it comes to the corporal punishment, the bill confirms that corporal punishment it is no longer allowed at schools. It proposes that a person who carries out corporal punishment may pay a fine or be sent into a prison. So they replace corporal punishment and they replace it with absolutely nothing. But we know that corporal punishment has been banned from schools from such a long time. So the leader of the DA, John Steenhuisen, has actually came out and told the president that, man, please do not sign this bill. We don't want you to sign this bill. We don't want you to sign this bill, President.
And so, for example, we do not believe that the president should sign the Bela bill into law tomorrow. Among other issues, we believe the bill
Unfortunately, the president has signed it. The president has signed it. So it is going to be quite interesting to see if those organizations are going to end up taking the president to court. You remember the likes of AfriForum. They said if the president dares to sign this bill into a law, then they will have no choice but to take the president and his administration to court because they do not agree with this Bela bill. So it is quite fascinating to see how everything is going to turn out. I believe a couple of days ago, an article came out that John Steenhuisen has actually threatened to pull the DA from the Government of National Unity over this Bela bill signage. But it looks like the DA is not going anywhere because I also saw an interview yesterday from the member of the Democratic Alliance saying, no. The DA is not threatening to leave the Government of National Unity over the Bela bill. So I hope this is something that is still going to be discussed because it has not been implemented. It has just been signed into a law, just like with the National Health Insurance. It has been signed into a law, but it has not been implemented. So I am one of the people who actually believes that some of these things are never going to be implemented. are never going to be implemented. Maybe it sounds nice. Maybe it sounds nice to the ANC going into 2026, saying that we have signed the Bela bill into a law, we have signed the national health insurance into a law. But when it comes to implementing such laws, it's a total different story.
And so, for example, we do not believe that the President should sign the Bela bill into law tomorrow. Among other issues, we believe the bill compromises the rights of children to mother tongue education. And that's why I met the President on Bela yesterday. And I really hope that we can find a common way forward. But if the President does go ahead tomorrow and sign the Bela bill, we will have to consider all of our options on the way forward. In a multi-party government, leaders need to respect the constraints and imperatives of their partners. And any leader that tries to ride roughshod over their other partners will pay a price, because their time will come when the shoe is on the other foot, and they will need the understanding of those partners in turn. That is how coalitions work. But this also applies to NHI. And our first instinct is to find solutions to the aspects of the NHI plan that we believe will do lasting damage to South Africa and our ability to deliver healthcare to all. If we can find those solutions collaboratively, we will be delighted. If we can't, we will pursue the interests of South Africa and South Africans' people through every other legal means at our disposal. It is important that we find common ground on this matter, particularly given the fact that the common goal is surely universal access to basic health care for every South African, regardless of their income status. It's what we want, it's what many in the private sector want, and it's certainly what any patriotic South African would want. But does it have to come at the expense of the destruction of choice? Does it have to come at the expense of the destruction of the private medical sector in South Africa, which is world leading in many aspects? Or can we also find a model like we're doing with Operation Vulindlela, like we're finding with rail, like we're finding in so many other aspects, where we can harness the partnership of the private sector to bolster and improve the public sector? And that's the compromise I believe we should be looking to find. We can spend the next 10 years slugging it out in the Constitutional Court, clause by clause on the NHI. Will that move us any closer to universal access to basic health care, improved hospitals, and a better quality of care for all South Africans at the access points that they access public health care? No, it won't. And so surely the shorter path to achieving what we all want is to find that compromise and to work together in partnership and in a collaborative way that ensures that we achieve the common objective that we all want. And I think it is important, particularly in this new environment that we find ourselves in, and the new era of coalition politics, that conflict over policy in a multi-party government like the GNU is normal and indeed is necessary in a democracy. It happens in coalitions the world over. It's not unique to South Africa, and it is a feature of coalitions, particularly in coalitions as large as the Government of National Unity is. And it is also, importantly, not an existential threat to the government. Let me say again, to be clear, conflict over policy in the GNU is not necessarily an existential threat to the government.
But that's how they are trying to put it. That's how they're trying to put it. That's how they're trying to put it. And many of us have actually come to peace and realization that sometimes these people that are in the government of national unity, sometimes they won't agree on policy, but it doesn't mean that it's an end of an alliance. But if you look at those guys in the Progressive Caucus, whenever there's a policy disagreement, in the GNU, the first thing they will say is that no, the GNU has already failed. You can see that right now they cannot even reach an agreement about such and such. But what John Steenhuisen is saying is basically true. Just because we have difference when it comes to policy, it doesn't mean that we have to throw our tantrums out. It doesn't mean we have to do that. No, this is a policy, and maybe sometimes we are going to disagree, and sometimes we are going to agree. So I think it's very important for us as South Africans to actually get to speed with it and get to understand it very quickly, that these people are still going to fight. This is not the first time that they are going to fight, and this is certainly not the last time that these people are going to fight. They are still going to fight for a wide range of issues. They're still going to fight for the wide range of issues. The best thing that the ANC should not do is to pretend like they are governing alone. Because if the DA is not careful about the ANC has this tendency of forgetting and acting like they are governing alone. So they're still going to fight about a lot of issues. They're still going to fight about a lot of issues. And I also saw on the news that the Basic Education Minister, Siviwe Kgarube, were not to attend the signing of the Basic Education Law by President Ramaphosa. I'm not sure if the articles were actually correct, that the Basic Education Minister was not going to attend the event where the president was going to sign the Bela bill into a law. And if the Basic Education Minister was not going to attend something so important, and that has to do with her department specifically, I don't think it would be a good look. Even if you disagree with the president, even if you disagree with the Basic Education Law Amendment Bill, but the truth of the matter is that all of you guys are in governance. You can go, the president can sign, and you can go behind back doors, and you can still discuss with the president. So I hope that the rumors were not true about Siviwe Kgarube not actually attending the event where the president was signing the basic education law into law.
But that doesn't mean that we would not walk away under any circumstances. I set out earlier in the speech that the bottom line for the DA is that the economy grows and it creates jobs. If the GNU cannot or won't do that, then there's frankly no point being part of it. Indeed, if the ANC insists on taking the country down the path to economic ruin, it would be our patriotic duty to leave the government and to use our position in Parliament then, our 22%, to stop the slide into catastrophe. Similarly, if the ANC sought to compromise the Constitution, undermine the independence of key institutions like the Reserve Bank, or do away with private property rights, we will have no part in it. The DA can never in good conscience be party to any assault on the Constitution. And so, the DA will not crash the government unless the government is crashing the economy or trashing the Constitution. To summarize, first, we seek common ground. Next, we engage in constructive conflict towards finding compromise. Finally, we walk away where there is lasting damage being done to the economy or the Constitution. And I hope that is clear. Not every single dispute within the GNU needs to be met with headlines, GNU on the brink of failing, or GNU, will it last? There will be conflict. There will be differences of policy. There are 10 different parties with very different philosophies within the GNU, and expecting them to agree on absolutely everything all of the time is an unrealistic expectation. So we mustn't catastrophize conflicts that may occur within the GNU. Ladies and gentlemen, I now want to move to an explanation of the DA's approach to relations with the ANC inside the GNU. And I want to be very, very clear about something. With 22% of the vote, the DA cannot get everything it wants inside the government. It would be undemocratic if we were to do so. So I want our supporters, old and new, to...
But the ANC with the 40%, they are getting everything they want. The ANC with the 40%, they are getting everything they want. So I think it would be better if John Steenhuisen and some of his people in the DA try to actually revise that. Because if you're going to say the DA with the 22%, it cannot get everything they want in government, so, and it would be unconstitutional if we would dare to try to get everything that we want. Just remember that the ANC with the 40%, they are getting everything they want. They are getting everything they want. I mean, right now, if you look at the ANC, you would swear that the ANC is governing alone. You would swear that the ANC is governing alone. They still have 70% of the ministers, despite losing the elections. Despite losing the elections. They still, despite losing the elections. So, I don't know.
Understand and accept that that is how democracy works and that is how coalitions work. Having said that, we will equally not accept a position in which we get none of our priorities implemented, because frankly that too is undemocratic and that too is not how coalitions should work. The reality is, whatever way you slice and dice it, whatever way you want to cut the pie, the DA holds the balance of power in the government of national unity. Without the DA's support in Parliament, the GNU does not have a majority. So, fair is fair. We can't get it all our own way, but equally so, the ANC can't get it all their own way.
Thank you.
But the ANC is getting their own way. That is the thing. The ANC is getting their way. The ANC is getting their way, while the DA is worried about the constitution and the democracy and not infringing with the democracy. The ANC doesn't care about the democracy. The ANC doesn't care about the democracy. They do as they please. ANC does as it pleases. You can't tell the ANC what to do. They do what the hell are they
in the country. So this bill seeks to enforce that grade L be compulsory. Remember, the Constitution makes grade 1 to grade 9 to be compulsory.
The ANC is getting everything they want, man. That's why I'm saying maybe the DA needs to start looking at things very differently. While you are busy saying that you cannot get anything you want with 20%, these people have lost the elections. They are getting everything they want.
The children of South Africa. Now, this, I believe, is the best possible option. What it does, it gives those who have views, who have solutions, even at the late hour, to be able to come forward with solutions. Now, I'd like all of us to be open-minded, to enter this period, 3-month period, with a great deal of confidence that solution will be found. And in many ways, it will put pressure on everyone to find a solution. But I must make it clear, if a solution is not found, the law stands as I will have signed it today. That will be the law of the Republic. We all agree on the need for a common framework for collaboration as government, as school governing bodies, and as parents, for our education system to work for all and not for some. We have to work better, we have to work in a smarter way, and in the end we have to work in a cooperative way. And that is why I'm invoking this process for 3 months, that on a cooperative basis a solution must be found. And if it is not found, the law I have signed stands. Let all of us work together, therefore, to ensure that all our children receive good quality education, wherever they are and whatever their circumstances. It is our responsibility in the end to create social cohesion and harmony. And need to create social cohesion and harmony should not be the responsibility of some, It should be a collective responsibility of all of us. Let us take advantage of our diversity to move our country forward. And let me take this opportunity to thank all those who have participated in the process towards the passing of this important law. I know this law has been in the making for some 11 years, and finally we have arrived at a moment when we have this basic education law amendment bill. Let us now work together to build the education system that our children need and deserve. I do believe that with this way forward, we will be able to find all the solutions that we need. I am now ready, prepared, willing, able, and positive to sign this law. Thank you.
Better with a round of applause. Let's give the President a better round of applause. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We will now proceed with the signing of the bill. Before you put pen to paper, sir, I'd like to invite the following stakeholders to be close to the main table as you sign. Premier Lesufi, please join the President and the Deputy Minister. The Director General from the Department of Basic Education. I would like also extend an invitation to the MSCs to please join the President with the Deputy Minister and the Premier and the DG as he prepares to sign the bill. Can I ask all the photographers in front to please just be considerate of the colleagues at the back, please? Thank you. You can proceed, Mr. President, and sign. Colleagues in front that are taking pictures, please be considerate of your colleagues at the back. Thank you. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The Basic Education Law Amendment, it has been signed into a law. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how it's going to be implemented. And guys, like I said earlier on, do not rely on the media. Do not rely on political parties or politicians. It's very important that you go online and read the bill by yourself. This is a very important issue. It is an issue that has to do with our children and their education. So it's very important for people not to be disrupted or be distracted when it comes to such issues. Go online and please read the bill by yourself. Please. And guys, please tell me what you think. Go to the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba. So I will see you next time.